Welcome back. You're watching TVC News at 1. Now, today is World Autism Awareness Day. It's an internationally recognized day observed on the 2nd of April every year, encouraging member states of the United Nations to take measures to raise awareness about people with autism, the autism spectrum disorder throughout the world. It was designated by the United Nations General Assembly resolution. This day draws awareness to the characteristics of people with autism and how to increase your own understanding and promote kindness. So let's talk this through by speaking with the co-founder and director of development and therapy Triple Passion Home Initiative. It's a home for abandoned children with disabilities. Dr. Fola Rogers, thank you so much for joining us on TVC News at 1. Absolutely. Today is World Autism Awareness Day. Why should we be aware about is it a condition, autism?
Well, by way of definition or, making people know what it is, autism is a complicated condition, which is a complicated condition, which is about social impairment in children and delayed language development.
Right. So is it something that most children are susceptible to, or is it that it affects certain category of children, or how is it identified really if someone has it? Well,
it's a condition with behavior deficit and communication deficit. When you have a child, from the age of 12 months to 18 months, you expect the child to come up with some milestones, when it is time to babble, when it's time to do movements of the head, when it's time to smile.
Right.
With these children, there are some impairments.
Right.
And usually before the age of 3, you discover that they have this condition, which is a problem with communication. And
communication, is it the way they communicate with people, or you communicating with them? You find it difficult to have conversations with them? Is that what you mean by communication?
Such children have some symptoms. Right. They exhibit some symptoms. For instance, they cannot have eye contact. They are not able to have eye contact. They find it difficult to understand the thinking and feelings of people around them. They are in a world of their own. They don't actually understand what the world is all about. Right.
So when you say eye contact, is that born out of shyness? Is that what you're trying to say? Or they won't just see you so as to look straight into your eyes?
Well, it's a developmental disorder whereby some part of the brain is affected. Right. And this child cannot even make a meaning of what is going on in his life.
Is this something that can be diagnosed by the parents, or does child would the child be taken to the hospital for him or her to be diagnosed?
Incidentally, in our society, people will say, "Oh, the father was like that. He didn't speak until he was 2 years old. Oh, don't worry, he's going to develop." They are not able to diagnose it. It's better to go to specialists so that they know. There are centers that are designated for assessment and treatment and diagnosis so that they will know. Because by the time your child is even 2, the child is not able to talk, the child is not even responding to any cues. For instance, if you want to point to something, or you are moving this handkerchief, for instance, with a child of probably 4 or 5 months, the child should move his eyes, with that. So all those things are there. The milestones are not there. So they get suspicious that something must be wrong. A child that is 2 years old is not even saying any word at all. And there are other symptoms. Sometimes they feel isolated. They don't want to interact with anyone. They don't want even cuddling.
It's different from being an introvert. Looking at the temperament.
It's different. It's a developmental disability. You understand? And when you want to cuddle a child and the child feels so uncomfortable, and then they have some kind of repetitive behavior.
Okay.
When an autistic child, for instance, might take just a string of thread, and that is what he will be rolling and playing with. And sometimes we also have things like a sing-song tone. Instead of speaking, you and you won't even make anything out of that. Those are symptoms, so many symptoms like that. Some of them will have some medical conditions around seizures. They have seizures because it's actually a problem with functioning of the brain. Yeah.
So this, it is easily diagnosed by specialists?
Oh yes.
Right.
Oh, yes.
But is it treatable?
Well, it is. Talking about autism, these days, people talk about the spectrum, autistic spectrum disorders.
What does that mean?
Because it means that in addition to the autism, there are other symptoms and level of impairment.
Okay.
Sometimes it even comes with some mental health issues like anxiety, like irritability, like other things that will not make the child comfortable, aggression, depression, So once they get to a specialist, there are treatments, there are assessment tools that they will have to, apply for them to know what kind of autism or what is the level of impairment.
So I actually asked whether it is treatable. You were going to answer that too.
Yes.
There
are treatments, different types of treatments. When you are talking about autism, you look at management.
Okay.
Treatment and management. Because there are severe cases and there are mild cases. Right. When I'm talking about treatment, for instance, because it's a neurodevelopmental issue. Some, like I said, some of them will have seizures. Some of them would not be able to sleep. So of course, that will come under some mental health issues, and then you will need to apply some medication. For instance, the child having seizure now, you need to give the child medication. You understand? When the child is not able to sleep at all, you need to do something. But more than anything, in terms of management, you talk about therapy.
Right.
Now, you have education and development therapy, and you look at things like assistive technology, developing software that will improve communication, for instance, or that will help in regulating the emotions of the child. In a center like ours, we have a sensory room. There we have sensory equipment that will help the child, because it's about social interaction deficit. We have activity room where the child can engage in different activities and the child can be supported. We have life training skills for the child. You have natural autistic therapy, whereby the child is exposed to things like music therapy that can help with the movement of the child. Yes.
Right. So why is it very imperative for especially parents to know about this really?
Well, it is very imperative because in our society we talk about stigma, discrimination, and then religion. Most times you have parents thinking, oh, this was done by somebody in my husband's family, in my village, and all of that. The awareness.
Or they could even say the kid or the child is a witch. So taken out to somewhere and being flogged and all that.
You won't believe it that even with the awareness we have in Nigeria at the moment, some parents still keep the children at home. They feel ashamed. When you are talking about inclusion, it is not really properly done in our society. Even special schools and centers for other disabilities, they don't really take care of autism. I know there are a few centers whereby, they are designated to help such, parents. So it's important for the parents to know where to go and to know that this is a condition. It's a global thing. It's not a Nigerian thing at all.
And it's not evil.
It is not evil in any way.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why they need to know. So since this has been marked, year in, year out, how much of awareness would you say a lot of Nigerians, really have now?
Well, I cannot put statistics to it right now, but I know that people are becoming aware. And I know some organizations are, doing a lot in terms of corporate social responsibilities. A company like GT Bank now, they sponsor the annual conference and consultation on autism. And this is made available to the public for people to find out, come for consultation, some centers are there to readily available to give them free assessment. You know.
All right, makes sense. Co-founder and director of development and therapy, Triple Passion Home Initiative, which is a home for abandoned children with disabilities.
Yes.
Dr. Fola Rogers, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you.